guys on the I Love CVille Show. It's great to connect with you through our network. We are live in downtown Charlottesville in our studio on Market Street. What are we, Judah? 100 yards from the police station, from the Charlottesville police station? Maybe 150 yards?
Something like that.
A block away from the Albemarle County Courthouse, the City of Charlottesville Courthouse. A block off the downtown mall. We're a mile from the John Paul Jones Arena, Scott Stadium, and Thomas Jefferson's University of Virginia. We're in the heartbeat of our community, and we love being here. What we try to do with the talk show is relay topics that are tied to Charlottesville, either from a macro or micro level, and just discuss a community, Charlottesville, Albemarle County, and Central Virginia, which we love dearly. One of our companies is called I Love CVille. And for those that watch the program, I Love CVille is very much not only a focus on Charlottesville City, but Albemarle and Central Virginia as well. I encourage you, Judah encourages you, the viewer and listener, to be a part of the discussion. We want you to be a part of the discussion. Leave comments in the comment section about the topics that we're discussing, and help us, challenge us, ask us questions, push us to be better broadcasters and hosts. Offer perspective that we're not considering, please. All Judah and I would like is to be the water cooler of content. Take a look at the screen for some of the topics we'll cover today. I found this topic, I saw it on one of the social sites, and I found it provocative and wanted to pick the brain of Judah and pick the brain of you, the viewer and listener. What millennial behaviors will Gen Zers kill first? Gen Zers and millennials clash on a number of things. They clash on in-person work, working in the office. They clash on craft beer. Gen Zers are drinking alcohol at a much lower clip than millennials, and the alcohol Gen Zers are drinking, data shows, is not craft beer. It's more seltzers. We'll talk about that on the program. Food and beverage, wellness, and technology are topics I want to talk today. I want to talk about this article in the Daily Progress about Airbnb giving the one-finger salute, the middle finger, to the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County. And the city of Charlottesville and Albemarle County is at the mercy of a multi-billion-dollar company and just takes the crumbs that Airbnb sends them without any clarity if the crumbs being sent tax revenue-wise are the full loaf of bread or just a mere few slices of the loaf. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk Timmy Showalter. Someone tell Tim Showalter we're going to give him some props today. The 2023 UVA Innovator of the Year. I mean, this is a big-time honor for the friend of the program, Dr. Tim Showalter. Innovator of the Year at the University of Virginia. That's impressive. Best French fries in the area on today's show. A lot of good options. Riverside High Street comes to mind as a fantastic French fry, Judah.
That's the first thing that comes to mind for me.
The French fries at Riverside I love the shoestring fries.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. We'll dissect which eateries have the best French fries, and I hope you have more than just Riverside that you're going to suggest on today's talk show. NC State and the University of Virginia, 7 o'clock tomorrow. John Paul Jones Arena. ACCN Network has that broadcast. An important basketball game for Virginia, a home basketball game, a team that seems to have found a new dynamic with Dante Harris and Jordan Minor getting significant minutes. Dante Harris, a fantastic perimeter defender, and Jordan Minor giving the team some interior toughness and rebounding and scoring in the paint, something that was not really prevalent until a week and a half ago when Minor started getting minutes. We'll weave Judah Wickhauer in on a two-shot, the director and producer of the show. First topic, if you want to put the lower third on screen, if you could, my friend. What millennial behaviors will Gen Z kill first? And this has, we're going to relate this to Charlottesville as well on today's talk show. I think the first thing we need to do, as you have the lower third up and you weave us in on a two-shot, J-Dubs, is put the generational graph on screen for the viewers and listeners. Put that graph on screen and let us know the years, the range for Gen Zers and Millennials, if you could, please, sir.
Let's see. Millennials range from 1981 to 1996.
81 to 96 is the millennial?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Generation Z follows with 1997 to 2012.
Gen Z, one more time.
Gen
1997 to 2012.
Z, yeah.
Thank you, Judah. So the young Gen Zer is turning 12. The old Gen Zer is turning 27.
Yeah.
27 years old. The old millennial is turning, goodness gracious, what, 44, 43? The old Gen Zer is turning 43.
You mean the old millennials?
The old millennial, thank you. The old millennial is turning 43, and the young millennial is turning 28.
Yeah.
So we have a clash of two generations, and we've seen this clash through technology, wellness, food and beverage, and housing. It's no secret that Gen Zer is entering the home purchasing era with arguably the most headwinds in American history.
Yeah.
Now, there are those in the Great Depression that may speak otherwise. We hear from the boomers of the world that wax nostalgic on 18 and 19% interest rates. The boomers that wax nostalgic on, there goes the mayor, on 18 to 19% interest rates. We must highlight that home prices were sub $100,000 while those interest rates.
And a lot of families could get by on a single income.
Exactly. Now you have a household income median, according to HUD, of $123,300 in Charlottesville, and that number is only getting higher.
Yeah.
So if you're born in this age range of 1997 to 2012, there's a bit of bitterness resonating in your mind. Bitterness associated with $250,000 of student loan debt in some capacity. Bitterness resonating with the pandemic impacting your schooling.
Yeah.
Radically changing a few years of your schooling. Bitterness resonating with the negative impacts of social media. You utilize Instagram and it seems like everyone on there is gorgeous and beautiful, muscularly fit and handsome. Bitterness surrounding the escalating rate environment and what that has done to housing, the cost of housing, and the diminished inventory levels. Go ahead.
And not just housing.
Oh, credit cards, groceries. I mean, Gen Z, the older Gen Zers enter the workforce in their professional lives at peak inflation.
Yeah.
So I want to unpack the behaviors that millennials, that Gen Zers, excuse me, some of the first behaviors that Gen Zers will kill that millennials established. Where would you like to begin with this topic? I have some ideas, but your opinion is extremely valued on this talk show.
Specifically things that millennials have established?
Millennials established, right. Carly Wagner, I'm going to get to your... I think Carly Wagner's got a damn good comment here. Get ready to put Carly Wagner's photo on screen. Carly Wagner, I don't want to age you, Carly Wagner, on the cusp of millennial and Gen Zer. Carly, are you a zillennial, Carly? I'm sincerely uncertain of your age, Carly. I would say you are a very young millennial. Carol Thorpe, we'll get to your comment here in a matter of moments. Judah, where would you like to begin?
Well, I'm not sure how much I know in terms of what millennials have started.
Oh, you already got Carly's photo on screen. I like that. Okay.
Do you have anything for me to go on? Let's see. Yeah, I'm not. I would need like a list of some of the things that millennials have begun.
I mean, craft
Gen
beer,
Z.
certainly a byproduct of millennials.
Okay,
You go to
that's fair.
any brewery out there and you see nothing but, not nothing but, you go to any brewery out there and it seems to be like a playground for millennial parents with their children running wild and amok around the brewery. Gen Zers, look at the data and the statistics, are not drinking alcohol at the clip that millennials did or do.
I wonder if some of that has to do with the visibility of everything we do in today's climate. Everybody's taking videos. Everybody is. I think there's a lot more transparency to what people are doing than there was back in the day. That makes it. I would think if I was coming up in this time, I would be a little more cautious, wary of you kind of have to look over your shoulder to make sure nobody's pointing their phone at you, taking a video of whatever you're doing.
100%. Carly Wagner watching the program. I want to get to her comments. If smartphones, iPhones were around when I was coming up in high school or college, disastrous for yours truly. The level of mischief and tomfoolery that I was involved in. 100%. Carly Wagner says, having babies. Birth rates are plummeting. Gen Z is also rejecting marriage and monogamy, apparently. A lot of truth to that. She says, millennials spent way too much on weddings, and now micro weddings are big things.
I wonder if a lot of that too has to do with the cost of things. Gen Z is looking at housing, looking at something like a marriage planner, and going, how are we supposed to afford this? I'm honestly not surprised that they're rejecting a lot of the traditional things that cost money. I would guess that they're probably also not buying diamond rings for
diamonds are being impacted.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would imagine they're not getting they're probably not buying the most expensive gold wedding rings after they've decided not to go with the diamond engagement ring. Just another way to, like you said, they're rejecting children. It's probably because
the acronym DINKS, dual income, no kids, very prevalent with young millennials and old Gen Zers. Dual income, no kids. Almost need to be a DINK and just to be able to make it in Charlottesville these days.
Exactly.
John Blair watching the program, he's got some ideas.
Yeah, looking at all those costs, looking at housing, looking at the cost to get married. It's what are you going to do when you decide to start having kids, and you're looking at your income and saying, how do we make this work? I mean, we saw it over the course of the pandemic, when a lot of people stopped doing daycare, and I think a lot of couples probably looked at their finances and said, look, you're going to work just to pay for someone to watch our kids. Why not just stay home and save that money?
Kevin Yancey watching the program. Let's get Kevin's photo on screen. What is Kevin in the power rankings? We're updating the power rankings in real time. Kevin, you can find the power rankings at ilovecville.com/viewer rankings. We've heard already from Carly Wagner, number 3 in the poll. She says she's 38 years old. I would not have guessed a day over 30, Carly Wagner, and I sincerely mean that. Kevin Yancey watching the show, number 11 in the power rankings. Put Kevin's photo on screen if you could. Kevin says, how can Gen Zers see marriage as stability with the majority of Gen Zers having parents that were divorced. Great
Yeah.
comment right there. The divorce rate in America, right around 50%. Now, items impact the divorce rate, socioeconomic status being one of them. If you're a product of divorce, you're also more likely to get divorced, the data suggests. But Kevin makes a strong comment right there. John Blair, get his photo on screen, number 2 in the family poll, in the family rankings. John Blair says Gen Z is going to kill the television network. My son and his friends, and really almost anyone under 20 years old, has almost exclusively watched YouTube and streamers for their entertainment. Hard for me to believe that the traditional television network will survive. As to millennials, I think their love of soccer is not translating to any other age group. Football is now king in America. MLS, which millennials tried to make a major sport, just is not doing it in terms of TV ratings. John Blair, excellent comment from John Blair. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I don't know anything about soccer. I don't know that I would place the death of television directly on Gen Z's shoulders. I think it was on the way out with a lot of the. I mean, I cut the cord years ago. I'm sure you did as well. And
Oh, yeah.
At some point, you just have to say it's not worth it when the cable company is charging you $100 for, like, what, maybe a couple channels that you want to watch a few times a week. It just it doesn't make any sense.
Olivia Branch highlights this. Let's get Olivia's photo on screen. Olivia is a very important member of this family. Olivia Branch, I'm looking at the power rankings right now. Olivia, you need to climb the rankings. In fact, Olivia is climbing the rankings today. She's 23 in the power poll, and 23 is not an indication of her performance of late with offering commentary and ideas. Olivia Branch needs to slide into, she's going to make a significant leap. Are you ready for this, Judah? Do you need a pen? I have a pen if you need one.
I think I do.
You need a pen?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Good catch, Judah. Let's slide Olivia Branch. This is a big-time jump from 23 into the 13th slot. Olivia Branch, now number 13 in the power rankings, will slide 13 to the 23 spot. Olivia Branch says, speaking of weddings locally, the calendar is strong. As someone who dabbles in weddings, the 2024 industry looks strong. Many venues are sold out. I'm very curious of, first, the craft beer scene. Huge, very passionate of craft beer. I've said many times on this show, I love to support the craft breweries in this area. I love Pro Renata. Dr. John Shabe is a frequent watcher and viewer of this talk show. If he's watching now, I would love to hear his thoughts on some of the topics we're talking about. Bob Shada says Olivia Branch is number 1. I do not care what the power poll says. Is Bobby Shada in the power rankings?
I don't think we've got him on there.
Bobby Shada needs to be in the power rankings. He's going to enter at the 34th spot. Bob Shada at the 34th spot in the family. Love Bob Shada. I'll dub him the mayor of Vivace. It's either Keith Clark or Bobby Shada as the mayor of Vivace. I'm going to go Bobby Shada for now. The craft beer scene is something that was birthed thanks to millennials. It's no secret that it's a key aspect of our economy in Central Virginia. You go to a brewery, you see younger parents having beers, pints, with their children running around. It's a key demographic of breweries locally. It's no secret that many of the breweries in this area are now diversifying their liquid portfolio. And it's not just a focus on IPAs and craft beer. Now breweries are dabbling in seltzer,
Yep.
liquor distillery, and NA beer. 10 years ago, it was craft beer. You had a handful of IPAs as your flagship, and you could have done very, very well. Now, if your focus is strictly IPAs, you're in a little bit of difficulty.
Though I still see way too many IPAs out there.
I'm a huge IPA fan.
I
I
know.
love the IPAs. I know you're not an IPA fan. I get it from your position. It's too hoppy for you. Deep Throat will get to your comment in a matter of moments. Look at what Three Notch is doing. I think Three Notch is one of the beer brands that has done an extremely great job of pivoting and adapting.
No doubt.
They went from a tiny brew house, brew pub, tap room, brewery on Preston Avenue, where McGrady's Irish Pub used to be, to now having Commonwealth-wide tap rooms, Virginia Beach, Charlottesville, Harrisonburg, just to name a few, Richmond. They brew their beer, they distribute beer, they have a fantastic kitchen with fantastic food. They have great pick up and go. In fact, Judah was just there buying beers today. Tuesday's a great day to buy beer at Three Notch.
Definitely.
They purchased the Wild Wolf Brewing Company location. News that was broken here on the I Love CVille show. At that location, you're going to see a distillery. You're going to see an omni-experiential point of sale that has a tap room, a restaurant, running, live music, 5K races. They got into seltzer. Their bourbon that they're making is pretty damn good. Diversifying revenue streams while still maintaining the same quality of craft beer. That is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
They've done it well. They've built a brand.
And they've also got a lot of great drinks. I mean, when you get right down to it, you go to some places and sure they've got they've got a good selection, but you try it out and it's just it's not that great. And I can't think of a beer I've had at Three Notch that wasn't a great representation of its kind.
Well said. Carly Wagner says cheerleading is dying. It was such a thing for me as a kid to be a cheerleader. And even in college, I had friends that were NFL cheerleaders. However, now the entire idea that girls should be pretty and sexualized is being rejected by Gen Z. Gen Z leading the charge for hybrid and or 100% work remotely. Gen Z leading a technology charge. Gen Z leading a wellness charge. Deep Throat, let's get his photos on screen. He's number one in the poll. Gen Z maybe will be less eager to blindly borrow for useless advanced degrees.
Yeah.
Older Gen Zers saddled with student loan debt.
Yeah.
Will the younger Gen Zers learn from millennials and the older Gen Zers and snub their nose at higher education?
And what will that do to colleges?
New York Deep Throat says, and what will that do to colleges? 100%. New York Fed study of household balance sheets. This is from Deep Throat. 18 to 29-year-olds have $320 billion in student debt. The 30 to 39-year-old has $500 billion in student debt from the New York Fed. Judah, jump into that. Excuse me. I'll give you that number again. This is from Deep Throat. Finance is his game. 18 to 29-year-olds, according to the New York Fed, have $320 billion in student debt. 30 to 39-year-olds have $500 billion in student debt. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Warrior AG says Gen Zers and the value of the dollar. Does the dollar still mean anything? I was stopped by a houseless individual 2 days ago. It was not, do you have any change to spare? She asked me, do you have $5?
Yeah.
Do you have $5?
Right.
I don't even carry currency.
Yeah. That's what
Is the next thing that we're going to be asked by houseless individuals, can you Venmo me $20?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Can you Venmo? Seriously, I sincerely mean that.
Yeah.
What does $1 buy? I bought a Butterfinger at the Market Street Market next door. It was $1.65 for a Butterfinger candy bar. What does $1 buy?
Not a whole lot these days.
What? I sincerely mean that. What can you buy with $1 now?
I honestly don't know. I mean,
Can you buy a pack of gum for $1?
I've never been a gum chewer, so I couldn't tell you. But yeah, nothing on that. You know, you look at all the candy on the racks as you walk through the grocery store, and there's nothing there under $1.
Carly Wagner says, hopefully Deep Throat is right. Ginny Who is watching the program. Ginny Who is a key member of this family, number 4 in the power poll, Ginny Who. She says, I see Carly's comment. There is definitely a group of Gen Z who want to destroy society, but I think we need to dig deeper and look at which generation influenced that behavior. There is a large, non-vocal part of Gen Z that are rejecting the craziness. Ginny Who says TV networks are already dead. Yeah. Albert Graves, let's get his photo on screen, please. Albert Graves is a valuable member of this family. Where is he in the power poll? Number 10, Albert Graves. The restaurant scene will definitely be reduced due to Gen Z loving all the food delivery services available at their fingertips. That's an excellent comment. I'm going to retweet this. The restaurant scene will definitely be reduced due to Gen Z loving all their food delivery services available at their fingertips, preferring to have their food in the comforts of their home while streaming Netflix or YouTube, food delivered through a third-party app like Grubhub or Uber that is crushing restaurants with fees.
Yeah. And the strange thing about that is, with all of the frugality coming from Gen Z, in terms of rejecting school, rejecting home ownership, or at least not being able to get into home ownership, rejecting expensive marriages. It's strange that they're very free at times with their money. I never get food delivered. I don't usually eat out a whole lot, but when I do, I don't normally get the food delivered because that's you're adding an extra probably $5 to $10 to
significant amount
to the price of your meal,
plus tip of the driver.
Yeah, exactly.
Bob Shada says, "Don't put that on me, Ricky Bobby. I'm not the mayor of Vivace. Keith Clark is the mayor of Vivace." Bob Shada, you're in the power poll rankings. I'll give Keith Clark the moniker of mayor of Vivace. Bob Shada is vice mayor of Vivace restaurant. I love when you watch the show, Bobby Shada. Probably wearing a rowback right now, a quarter zip rowback or a rowback golf shirt as we speak, Bobby Shada. James Watson is watching the program. Olivia is very happy to be number 13, Judah. Make sure we update the power ranking. Olivia Branch, her star is rising fast in all aspects of her life. James Watson is watching the program. James Watson is number 5 in the power rankings. We've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Carol Thorpe, I'll get to your comments. Albert Graves and then Kevin Yang. We have almost 75% of the top 11 commenting so far. You guys are the best. James Watson says, one could say that we might be oversaturated with breweries, even though they're all cool and they've always been great places to let your kids run around while you have a drink. 100%, James. 100% agree with that. 1,000% agree with you. 99.9% of the time, I agree with James Watson 1,000% of the time. James Watson is a smart man. I agree with that comment. I mentioned this live on air. How will it pertain to Charlottesville? I think it'll pertain to Charlottesville, Gen Z impacting restaurants and staffing associated with restaurants. The tenure and longevity of restaurants, I think Gen Z will impact by liking or enjoying food delivered to their house. I think the media landscape is going to change. has already drastically changed. You see on Reddit the $30 ask for a monthly subscription to the Daily Progress. I would bet you paying, and this information is readily available. In fact, Deep Throat has shared this with me in the past. Deep Throat, if you have that data, I would love to know the amount of actual paying subscribers of the Daily Progress. I would bet you the amount of paying subscribers of the Daily Progress is under 6,000 or 7,000 people in this market. That's Gen Z impacting, millennials certainly impacting as well. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see what happens with craft beer. I'm curious to see if weddings will be impacted. The micro wedding certainly a thing. The wedding supply chain is massive.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what happens with the commercial real estate. If the Gen Z insistence of hybrid and remote work further diminishes the demand on commercial real estate, what's that going to do to areas like downtown that rely on the towers being filled with people to keep lunch spots open? It's no secret that Blue Ridge Country Store is in some financial difficulty. Deep Throat says total circulation is 11,000. But a lot of that is newsstand, which is mostly fish wrap, he says. The actual subscription is more like 6,500 people. 6,500 people subscribing to the local newspaper.
Yeah.
And how many of those are passing away each day?
Right.
Not to be morbid, just realistic.
Yeah. I mean, newspapers used to be pretty much ubiquitous in most households. I mean, I remember delivering
I love newspapers. I love
delivering newspapers as a kid. Loving the Sunday Funnies.
The Sunday Funnies. What was your favorite comic?
Probably Calvin and Hobbes.
Mine was Dennis the Menace. You're not surprised by that, are you?
Not really. I was never really a big fan.
You didn't like Dennis?
He's kind of a little... Nah, I didn't mind it.
What? He was mischievous. He was a menace.
Yeah.
Always drove Mr. Wilson crazy. He was always up to no good. Slingshot in his back pocket, dirty overalls, shoes untied, hair frazzled, always looking to drive Mr. Wilson crazy. Love Dennis the Menace. Carol Thorpe, let's get her photo on screen. Carol Thorpe is number 9 in the power poll. She said, Jerry, did you see, speaking of media, did you see yesterday in the city council meeting that city council unanimously approved the spending of $4 million of expiring federal funding earmarked for COVID relief on a piece of property for undesignated purposes and for salivating how to spend a local $20 million budget surplus? In other words, what they overtax citizens rather than return it to taxpayers? 5-0 vote for both. New year, new council, same old nonsense. That's the homeless shelter on Avon. You still got that photo you can put on screen? The Google map or the photo from Google Street View?
Let me check.
We mentioned this last week on the I Love CVille show, if you remember.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Here's the photo.
So what are we looking at right now?
This is the building, the old bike, what was it called?
Oh, Community Bikes.
Yeah, Community Bikes on the corner of, is that 9th and 9th or Avon or whatever, and
405 Avon Street.
Yeah.
Belmont, going to have a homeless shelter thanks to COVID relief funds.
Here's the map.
I got no problem with creating homeless shelters. No one create a meme out of me or throw shade on me about that. I got no problem about it. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a homeless shelter operated and funded by the city adjacent to Tony and prestigious $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 Belmontonian houses. I'm going to say that again.
I don't think it's that close.
What are you talking about, dude? This is Belmont.
I still, it's across Avon. I just don't see the...
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree for the sake of a talk show. $4 million in COVID relief money Spend it before it gets taken back.
I mean, you might as well.
I get that. I get you might as well. But this was COVID relief money. Could the $4 million of COVID relief money been used better during COVID when the world was falling apart and businesses were failing and dying and small business owners were taking mortgages against their homes to keep their businesses afloat and their employees paid? Perhaps the city council could have used this COVID relief money to drive a much more strategic approach to helping the downtown or locally owned businesses survive a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic. Hey, what they did instead was bank the money in an account and utilize it to buy buildings from the Redevelopment and Housing Authority, and now they're going to have a homeless shelter in a neighborhood of $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 houses. There you go. That's literally happening. Thank you, Carol Thorpe, for that. Ginny Who says, Bob Shada, Keith Clark just celebrated his birthday as well. Ginny Who says, my kids cover a wide span of the Gen Z years. Judah is right. My eldest is very frugal, shops thrift stores, etc., yet she'll drop money on food delivery. The younger two won't even spend money on that. Warrior AG said the top 97 of 100 most viewed TV programs last year were dominated, according to the Nielsen ratings, by the NFL and their teams. We learned that from Jerry Ratcliffe on the Jerry and Jerry Show. 97 of the top 100 most viewed TV programs in 2023 were NFL contests. Warrior AG, I'm retweeting that. Happy birthday, Keith Clark. Bill McChesney says it's the corner of Avon and Garrett Streets.
Yeah.
Deep Throat says, here's a shocking daily progress statistic for you from Lee Enterprises 10K. Guess the average daily uniques of the Daily Progress website. Okay. He wants to ask the viewers and listeners. This is a question from Deep Throat, number one in the family. What is the average daily unique views of the Daily Progress website? Put your thoughts in the feed. I will relay them live on air. I'll also describe what a daily unique view is. A daily unique view is when an IP address associated with the computer goes to the newspaper website each day. If I go with this MacBook Air that I have in my hand, and I visit dailyprogress.com on Monday at 10 a.m., and then Monday at 12 p.m., and then Monday at 3 p.m., and Monday at 6 p.m., that only counts as one daily active unique view. Only one. Is that number true, Deep Throat? Is that seriously true? No way. Oh my God, he's sharing the data. He's got the data. What do you think the daily unique visitors? We get more than this on I Love CVille. What is the daily unique view? Per day, though, per day. It's 330 per day? Oh, 1,000 uniques per day. 1,000 unique visitors per day on the Daily Progress website. And he's got a graph that Lee Enterprises has to legally share. 1,000 uniques per day. Think about that.
It's not a lot.
That's not a lot.
No.
1,000 unique visitors per day on the newspaper website. Dylan's Rule, welcome to the broadcast. Dude, more and more I feel the pressure of this being the news source. You, Judah Wickhauer, as a news source.
Yep. It's a scary world we live in.
Deep Throat says that's an embarrassment. John Blair says Carly Wagner is correct. Cheerleading is dying quickly, per someone I know who owns a cheerleading business in North Carolina. Deep Throat throwing some shade right now at the DP. All right, we need to get to the Airbnb story. Kevin Yancey says, I bet most come from social media tags. Yeah, no doubt about it. The social media story, ironically, is from the Daily Progress. Do you want to put it in perspective, Judah? What you read today? Travis Hackworth in Danville says newspapers are now basically something people use to clean their windows or use as piss pads for animals. Oh, it's heartbreaking for me. I love newspapers dearly. It's how I got my start professionally. All right.
I get them for the crosswords.
We got a 1:30 meeting with the star of the Juicy Details, Hillary Lewis Murray. So we have 13 minutes left, and I want to get to a number of topics, including Dr. Tim Showalter, named the 2023 Innovator of the Year. First thing you got to do, my friend, is change the lower third. Airbnb is flouting the law in CVille and Albemarle County, and then rotate the second one in on Airbnb. You set the stage of what you read. I will respond and react to you.
So essentially, the Airbnb, unlike VRBO, they are paying taxes, surprisingly, but they're not giving any. They're not providing any documentation for any of the houses that are getting Airbnb'd out. So the problem being, they may or may not be providing the right amount of taxes that they owe. And I think an even bigger problem is that there's no way of knowing. Say they send taxes to Charlottesville and taxes to Albemarle County. There's no way to know whether or not they're even paying the right taxes. Do they know the difference between Charlottesville and Albemarle County? Is Charlottesville getting shafted by not getting enough of the money, and Albemarle County is getting some of that tax money? Is it the other way around? We have no way of knowing, and as we mentioned earlier in the show, they are a monumental Goliath of a company, and so who in Virginia even is going to
go toe-to-toe with Airbnb.
Try to take them on.
You have a number of storylines here. Airbnb is not potentially is a key word here, allocating the right portion of tax revenue of lodging taxes to jurisdictions everywhere. They're ambiguously just cutting checks to jurisdictions like Charlottesville and Albemarle County without clear itemization.
Right. Here's what we owe you.
They're just giving lump sums.
Yeah.
Very clandestine payment methods. And commissioners of revenue in these jurisdictions are saying, we think they're breaking the law. And the same commissioners of revenue are saying, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
A second aspect of this is the local jurisdictions seem to struggle to police the Airbnbs. Legally, you have to live in Charlottesville and Albemarle, you have to live in the unit half the year, 180 days, to be able to Airbnb it. Some folks, however, have multiple units and are doing Airbnb arbitrage, where they're basically taking housing stock out of the for rent or for sale ecosystems and using it to maximize margin through short-term rentals. That's against the law.
Yeah.
You have potentially the law being broken at the top of the pyramid, at the top of the totem pole, by Airbnb corporate, by potentially not funneling the true tax revenue to the various localities. Mm-hmm. And then you have the law being broken at the bottom of the totem pole or the bottom of the pyramid with Airbnb arbitrage, where folks utilizing or taking more than one unit out of the housing ecosystem to rent and not living according to the law in the unit 180 days a year. If you lived according to the law, Judah, and you had to live in a unit 180 days to be able to rent, legally, how many units could somebody own for Airbnb?
2.
Exactly. So anyone that is owning more than 2 and Airbnb-ing it cannot legally do that.
Yeah.
I ask this question, and if you want to change the lower third, what impact this is having on housing and the cost of housing. And I would venture to say that it has an impact for sure. The level, we don't know. I don't even think the city realizes or county realizes the impact that Airbnbs are having on driving costs upward. I truly mean that. Deep Throat says this. Oh, he's done an Airbnb analysis.
Nice.
It's amazing. It's amazing. He says, why wouldn't Charlottesville go toe-to-toe with Airbnb? We have a city attorney. If Charlottesville's not getting the info they are supposed to, then sue. He said, as I've said many times before, there are plenty of companies that do Airbnb compliance for cities. I've emailed contacts to the city, but apparently sending an email is beyond Laura Jim. That's the head of the neighborhood development services. Deep Throat. He's making Judah laugh over it. They should enforce it.
Yeah.
They should get the data. They should police it.
How much do they go after you and me when they think our taxes are, wrong?
Significantly. On the regular. Bob Shada says, if you stop the Airbnb train, the wedding industry collapses around here. Not saying taxes should not be paid, but having to live in the unit is silly. Am I right about that or no?
Doesn't forcing people to live in the unit cut down on
Airbnb arbitrage?
On investors?
It
Just
does.
Buying up. What if somebody with billions of dollars came in and bought every available house on the market in Charlottesville? And what is that going to do to affordability?
It would crush it. If there wasn't this law, Bob, of you have to live 180 days in the unit to legally run an Airbnb, you also have to get a business license, you have to have insurance. It's a lot of red tape. If you didn't have that, you'd have people literally scooping up for sale inventory to turn into short-term rentals in hotels, and that would further escalate the cost of housing because we already have an inventory shortage. Imagine if you had 150 Airbnb investors or more scooping up 3, 4, 5 units every time they came on the market. Because Charlottesville's hot, and it is a wedding industry mecca, and it's an ACC sports town, and it's an outdoor town. Owen Brenner watching the program.
I'm surprised nobody's come up with a way to get around that by, say, find someone that needs a place and say, look, you can stay here 100 you can stay here half the year.
Owen Brenner watching the program, he says this, on the other side, boys and gentlemen, Airbnb does allow folks to be able to afford their houses. Airbnb income also allows families to afford the crazy home prices in CVille. That's certainly one side.
But what are those families doing if you can't afford a house? Are they really?
No, he's basically saying if you own a house and you can Airbnb your room, a room in your house, you're able to subsidize your mortgage and the overhead associated with the house by renting out a room. Or if you go away for a weekend and you rent out your house for graduation weekend and you get top dollar, that graduation weekend might be a mortgage payment that you get.
Or it could be paying for the vacation that you go on while it's being used.
So he's saying you have to consider it from this way. I have no problem with people doing it the right way, where they're renting out a room or a house on a weekend just to offset the cost of housing. My problem is when folks are breaking the law and doing Airbnb arbitrage. Scott Harris watching the program, are Airbnbs regulated by the county city where they have a database of Airbnbs in our area? I'm curious. They're supposed to be, Scott. That's a great question. They are supposed to be regulated by Albemarle County and the city of Charlottesville and other jurisdictions, but they are not. They don't have the staff to enforce the Airbnbs. In fact, there's one business locally that is building a model around servicing Airbnbs, from helping people buy them to helping clean them to helping market and promote them. In fact, there are 2 companies that do that locally, and I'm not going to out anybody or out any brands or businesses that are doing that. We got a 1:30. We got to pick up the pace and tempo. They do that, Judah. They hire designated agents. It's from Carly. All right. This is a topic. We'll bring the Airbnb topic up tomorrow. Tim Showalter was named the UVA 2023 Innovator of the Year. That's the police going by. Is that the Airbnb police?
Definitely not.
Is that the Airbnb police going to Rugby Road to pop some illegal Airbnbs? Tim Showalter, 2023 UVA Innovator of the Year. Can you get his photo on screen?
It's not.
I'll give you a little background. He's a friend of the program, Tim Showalter. Great guy, great squash player, great father, great husband, great innovator, great businessman, great doctor. This guy is a doctor at the UVA School of Medicine, a professor and clinician at the UVA Cancer Center, and he's been selected the UVA 2023 Innovator of the Year. A celebration of Dr. Showalter's work will take place February 8th at the Rotunda, and it's free and open to all UVA faculty, staff, students, and community members. Whitey Reed, who's one of the Virginia spokesman content creators, gives us that information. Tim Showalter is being recognized for a cervical cancer treatment device from his company. A cervical cancer treatment device for his company.
Nice.
We should get Tim on the show. I think Tim would come on this program. He's a very likable guy. Very approachable and likable. I might actually reach out to him to see if he'd come on the show and just like sit and host the show with us one day. His daughter, a fantastic squash player, Lillian Showalter. She's very, very good. She's better than me. She's, I think, a junior in high school.
Nice.
I don't think he's related to Buck Showalter, the baseball manager, Carly. I do not believe he is related to Buck. French fries, we can't just say Riverside. I saw on Reddit Timberwood Tap House was being highlighted as a talented French fry in the community. I do love the shoestring fries from Riverside.
Yeah, they are.
But you have to give me some other ones besides just that. Scott Harris, we appreciate your comments.
I haven't tried many French fries around Charlottesville in quite a while, but one place that absolutely surprised me was I don't always go for the thick steak fries, but the thick fries at the Shell station.
Oh, I would never have guessed that.
Across from
on 5th Street.
No, on Preston.
That's a Tiger Fuel Market.
Is it now?
The one over there by Bodo's?
Yeah, I think you're right.
That's Tiger Fuel.
I don't go there very often. I'm not usually over in that neighborhood, but I've stopped there and grabbed some chicken and some sides, and those fries are top notch.
Okay, I haven't had that. Maria Marshall Barnes is watching the program. Can we get Maria Marshall Barnes' photo on screen? Number 32 in the family. She says Five Guys fries are great and Tubby's French fries are great on High Street. Bill McChesney's photo needs to be on screen. Bill McChesney is a very important member of this family, number 15 in the poll. He says Tip Top has fantastic French fries, fellas. Tip Top. My number one is Riverside. I agree with the Redditors, and it's crazy for me to say that out loud. Timberwood Tap House and 5th Street Station are excellent. I think the French fries at Birdwood Grill are fantastic.
Who was I getting up?
Bill McChesney.
Oh, yes.
I think the French fries and the steak frites from Petit Pois are excellent. Scott Harris says, I appreciate the input. I own a small transportation company that is a hot item with Airbnbs. Yes, I pay all my taxes and commercial insurance that skyrocketed this year, killing me, but Charlottesville keeps me busy. Owen Brenner says, so all these Airbnb rules to control the big guy is just hurting the small guy. Appreciate that. I totally get that. And that's generally how it happens, unfortunately.
Yep.
It's generally how it happens. All right, we have a 1:30 that may be waiting for us in the hallway. It's the star of the Juicy Details. Hillary Lewis Murray. Her show airs Wednesdays at 2:15 p.m. on the I Love CVille Network. Albert Graves says, PSA, there has definitely been an uptick in porch pirates in our area. Ivy Road in Nelson County. Keep your eyes on your cameras.
Yeah.
And Albert Graves says, Judah is talking about the potato wedges, and they are delicious.
They are amazing.
The potato wedges. Albert Graves, you made the program better today. All you viewers and listeners made the program better. Judah and I are only here to be the facilitators and the conductors of you, the viewer and listener. The viewer and listener is the star of the show. You guys are the star of the show. Judah and I just want to have a discussion about topics that matter. Is that safe?
Yeah, that's safe.
I thought you did a fantastic job today.
Thank you.
Job well done. All right, close it off. I'll kill some time. Thank you for joining us on the I Love CVille Show.